Hello, everybody. Welcome to Elite Weather Forecasting. My name is Mr. G with your Monday weather forecast, and it's going to talk about the week ahead. Our city of the day is Cleveland, Ohio. Yes, we are right here over Lake Erie, and we are watching a very cloudy afternoon, kind of wet out there today, seeing those showers. Some thunderstorms and severe weather is possible as well. And we're looking at those temperatures right now in the lower 70s out there, as there's a lot of haze in the sky. So again, those showers and storms expected across much of the Midwest today, especially in and around the Great Lakes areas. So if you're then in those regions, please monitor the weather forecast in your area. Keep on top of things because it could be rather interesting really quick, especially around the Chicago area. If you're in northern Illinois, parts of southwestern Michigan, northern Indiana, you can definitely see that risk there for tornadoes this afternoon and damaging winds in excess of 75 miles per hour. We could also see rather large hail. 2 to 3 inch diameter hail is also possible through parts of the upper Midwest. And we're going to focus on all that in just a moment here. So right now, let's move on and talk about the forecast across the rest of the country. It's just fitting that our image here has lightning, because that's what we're going to be talking about this evening on this weather forecast. Is all the thunderstorms and lightning that we're going to be seeing out there this evening. So millions, at least 100 million people are under the bullseye for severe weather this evening and through a good portion of this week. So let's move on with that weather forecast and take a look at our current radar image right now. And we're seeing those thunderstorms up here across the upper Midwest, across Wisconsin and northern Illinois and parts of Indiana. We're seeing rain showers and thunderstorms this afternoon and some embedded severe weather. And then we have another area of showers and thunderstorms moving over Lake Erie and over towards Lake Ontario and into parts of western Pennsylvania, as well as through West Virginia and northern Kentucky and down through the Appalachian, the northern end of the Appalachian mountain range. We're seeing those showers and thunderstorms right now. And we're also seeing some scattered showers and storms extended along this frontal boundary into parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, as well as in southeastern Missouri. Some more showers and storms taking place off the coast of Florida and over the Gulf of Mexico as well. And then we have monsoon thunderstorms here across the southwest, the Monsoonal rim. So I should expect to see interesting video this evening and afternoon on TikTok because of this area of thunderstorms. This is the Monsoonal rim, the high areas here, and these thunderstorms are probably drifting southwest across the Sonora Desert there in southern Arizona near Tucson and Phoenix. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tucson gets a pretty decent monsoon storm this afternoon, while Phoenix just gets a tease and maybe lives high and dry once again. So again, we're dealing with the finickiness of those monsoons. And here is our active radar right now as we have seen what we've seen today, and there's our storms that we've seen across the upper Midwest. We saw showers and storms across Minnesota early today, and those storms are racing across Wisconsin. And then we have our activity from the southern plains moving into the mid-Atlantic, into parts of the Northeast later today and tonight. We're going to be seeing those showers and storms heading that way. Now here is our severe thunderstorm forecast for today, is where we could see some severe weather here across the east central United States. So mainly from parts of the deep south down here through North Georgia, Mississippi, and Alabama, through Tennessee, North Carolina, and into South Carolina. So Kentucky, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, parts of Rhode Island, and Connecticut as well. We have that risk for severe weather this afternoon. And here across the upper Midwest, so the Ohio Valley, Indiana, Illinois, southern Wisconsin, parts of eastern Iowa, we can see those severe thunderstorms that could produce some tornadoes, so some spin-ups are possible there across the upper Midwest. And we're going to be seeing some very large hail and damaging winds that could hit 75 miles an hour. And then for tomorrow, that severe thunderstorm threat mainly hugs the eastern shoreline. So from the deep south, from Georgia, South Carolina, through North Carolina, Virginia, all the way up to Boston, Massachusetts, have the risk for severe weather tomorrow. And our primary threats, especially here in the yellow, where we have a higher shot of seeing some of that severe weather, is calling for the risk of some tornadoes, some large hail and damaging winds that could hit 70 miles per hour. So, and very heavy rain that could lead to some flash flooding is going to be possible more up here to the north. So, if you're in Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York City, near New Jersey, you can see that potential there for some flash flooding and heavy rainfall from those scattered afternoon and evening thunderstorms tomorrow. And then as we move into Tuesday, it gets interesting across the upper Midwest. Minnesota, where the Twin Cities is, especially, and through northwestern Wisconsin, we have that risk for our severe weather. We have a slight chance of severe weather across that region where we could be seeing a few isolated tornadoes possible, some large hail, damaging winds, and very heavy rain and flash flooding could also be possible as we're going to be seeing some severe weather. But what's interesting is after that round of severe weather leaves that region and that storm system moves on to the east, we're going to see a tremendous heat wave build in across the plains, the high plains from the upper Midwest down to the Gulf Coast and across Texas, where it's already been hot, but we're going to see that triple-digit heat make its way across the plains. So we're going to be talking about that in just a moment. Here's our satellite view of our infrared of the atmosphere at this time, this evening, and we're seeing those showers and storms up here across the north in our storm system. So we do have an area of low pressure. You can see this frontal boundary in place. There's a spin in the atmosphere right about there. So we do have an area of low pressure. Now this is going to be a very interesting area of low pressure as it dives to the south and east. But we're going to see changes, finally some changes in the weather across the south, in the southeast, excuse me. It's very dry in this room. Makes me cough every time I do a video. And we're going to start to see temperatures cool a little bit perhaps, and maybe some lowering humidities especially. I think we're going to see humidities come down a little bit more significantly than we're going to see the temperatures fall down across the south and east. So that is a little bit of good news. And let's move on with our next map here. As we talk about the amount of moisture in the atmosphere, now you're seeing this here. This is where our big area of showers and storms are moving across the upper Midwest. So we see all of this moisture here. Look at this rotation right there. We have this area of low pressure here across Minnesota and Wisconsin right now. And this is going to be sliding off to the east toward the southeast a little bit. And that is going to help to usher in cooler and drier air that's going to eventually make its way down to the southeastern United States and along the East Coast. So we're going to be seeing a little bit of a change further south where we're going to lose a little bit of humidity and drop the temperatures a few degrees. So a nice welcome change for some of you folks down the south, especially as we get in toward the upcoming weekend. So you got about 4 or 5 days to suffer through before there is a little bit of break coming your way. And we're going to jump into that. Here is our upper level, our 500 millibar this is the 500 millibar vorticity of the from our map here. I can't talk today. Oh God, I don't know what's going on. So here's our 500 millibar. As you can see, that upper level storm system that's going to make its way off the northeast. But check out behind it. And then this secondary thing is what's going to make a nice push down toward the southeast. As you can see later in the week, how things are kind of getting brushed out and pushed down toward the south and east. that's going to be some of that moisture being pushed out, and things will get a little bit drier down along the southeast coast and the Gulf Coast as well. Maybe if you're along the immediate Gulf Coast, say maybe New Orleans or Mobile, Alabama, or Biloxi, Mississippi, you might still have to stick with the heat. But if you're just to the north, say Jackson, or if you're a little bit further to the north in Alabama, maybe Atlanta, you might start to experience a little bit of drier air and a couple of degrees cooler as well. But if you're along the immediate Gulf Coast, it's going to remain a little bit on the hot and humid side for you folks. But some of you folks in the South might get a little bit of a break as we head toward the upcoming weekend, as we got a 1-2 punch. We got our first system that's going to head off toward the northeast, but our second system is going to be a reinforcing shot, and it's going to have enough oomph to influence the weather further down to the south. So that is a little bit of good news as high pressure comes in behind it and help push that thing further east and south. But what it's going to do, you see this here, now you see this blue, that's drier air and that is cooler air moving in. So you see how it's making its way down toward the southeast, but it don't quite make it all the way to the Atlantic coast. For the most part, gets pretty close, but you are seeing that cooler air, dry air, so that is going to be a cool down. That's going to, if I can reach way up there, if you can see the dates, it shows the 20th. When we get to the 20th, we're going to see that's next Sunday, I think. Then Monday is the 14th, 15th, 16th, Wednesday, 17th to Thursday, 18th to Friday. Yeah, Sunday. So the 20th is Sunday, and we're going to start to see a little bit of cooler across the south and east. But the problem is, on the bad side of that, there is a flip side to that drama. So watch this, watch the cooler, but then watch this. When you get to Sunday, come on Sunday, watch here. Watch the yellows start to show up. Watch the yellows, backflow, boom, there it is. There it starts to warm up. We're going to talk about a ridiculous potential heat wave. Now, I don't 100% trust the GFS on this, but it's going to get stupid hot, stupid humid, and this is going to be our precipitable water. Now, what this map shows, if you take the atmosphere and squeeze all the moisture, this is how much rainfall you would get. Now, down here, you might be able to show where it maxes out, shows you that 2 to 3 inches of rainfall, especially right down in here. This darker shows where more moisture is, so it's going to be higher rainfall rates in those areas down across the south and east. But if you look up here, the blue is drier air. This green is also drier air. As you can see, that cooler, that drier air starts to work in across the southeast. It passes the Appalachian Mountain Range, gets really close to the Atlantic coast. We're going to see those temperatures dry out a little bit. So a definite improvement across the southeast, as it's been ridiculously hot. Now here's those temperatures that we are going to see over the next 6 or 7 days here. This is the 7-day. Look at this here. Look at the nation center, the middle of the country, right here, the high plains, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, right through here all the way up to Minnesota, Iowa. It's going to get hot as hell across the plains. This is stupid. These temperatures are going to be in the above 110. Am I believing in that? Well, maybe across the high plains, but right here, closer to the Great Lakes, maybe near 100. But we will see a really high heat indexes that could be that high. But again, we are talking about a pretty significant heat wave coming through the plains as we head toward the upcoming weekend. Here is those temperatures that we are looking at today and tomorrow across the southeast. Here is the southeast. We're looking at those temperatures in the upper 90s, 100s from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, 90s, 100s right along the Gulf Coast here over towards Texas. And then this is the Pacific Northwest. It's also pretty hot in the Pacific Northwest right now. We are looking at temperatures, Seattle and Portland in the upper 80s to 90s. 90s, a little bit warmer down in Portland than it is up in Seattle. Temperatures in the upper 80s, lower 90s. But if you go over here, Spokane, if you go to the east of the Cascade Mountain Range, it's hot as hell. Temperatures in the upper 90s to lower 100s. Corvallis, Oregon, Yakima, temperatures in the low 100s in there. So we are looking at some heat across the Pacific Northwest for the next few days as well. Here is that heat that we're going to be seeing across the northern plains. This is for Sunday. This is your 20th, the Sunday map. Look at all of those triple digits, 100 somethings, all the way up to the upper Midwest, to the northern plains, down to Texas. So a hot weekend is in store across the high plains. So a lot of heat that we're going to be dealing with. Now let's take a look at the tropics. So here's a wide angle of the tropics right now, and we have a tropical disturbance right here off the coast of Central America and Mexico. And then we have Hurricane Fernanda that's out here headed out toward the west. So we got one hurricane, pretty quiet in the Atlantic right now, with the exception of a couple of pretty significant tropical waves coming off the coast of Africa as we're going to be heading into the Cape Verde part of the season. But here is Hurricane Fernanda right now as it's making its way out toward the west, southwest out there. And this hurricane is a Category 1 hurricane, and we're going to be seeing this hurricane gradually weaken as it's making its way out toward the west. It's going to head due west. It's going to be passing south of Hawaii, but not as a hurricane, so that is some good news right there. It could be just post-tropical by then, but significantly weaker. And then we have, and here is Tropical Storm Greg right now as it's making its way toward just passing south of Hawaii right now. So another tropical system that is kind of affecting the Hawaiian Islands. This is going to be moving due south of Hawaii. There is Hilo, Hawaii right there. And there is Greg out there as it's going to make its way out. It's going to stay south and move due west over the next several days. Have minimal impacts with the Hawaiian Islands as the recovery efforts in Maui continue. So that is a look at the tropics as far as what we're seeing. But here is a wide angle view of the Atlantic Basin right now. And we have this tropical wave coming off the Cape Verde Islands. And we have another tropical wave out here. So we got two rather robust tropical waves that we're tracking. That development is expected out of these two as these make their way toward the west, toward the Caribbean. So we do expect some kind of a tropical depression. We may be talking about maybe a tropical storm over the next 4 or 5 days. So that is a look at the tropics right now and your weather forecast. My name is Mr. G. Thank you for watching me today. Leave a like, comment. Please subscribe to the channel on YouTube and leave a follow on TikTok. See you guys all tomorrow. Have a good day and evening. Bye-bye.